What if you were born for this exact moment? What if the fear you're facing right now is not a sign to run away, but a signal that you were placed here for a greater purpose? Welcome to Bible Wisdom Collective. We're so glad you're here with us today. In this space, we don't just read ancient stories, we listen for timeless wisdom. And today, we want to walk with you through the powerful lessons hidden in the Book of Esther, a story where God never speaks directly, yet his presence changes everything. This is not just a story about a queen, it's a story about you, about courage, silence, timing, and the quiet strength it takes to stand when everything is at risk. Lesson 1. God is working, even when he is silent. One of the most surprising things about the Book of Esther is this: God's name is never mentioned, no miracles, no visions, no divine voice from heaven, and yet, nothing happens by accident. Esther reminds us that God often works behind the scenes, through ordinary events, delayed moments, and unseen connections. The missed sleep of a king, a forgotten act of loyalty, a sudden change of favor. If you've ever felt like God is silent in your life, this lesson is for you. Silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean abandonment. Sometimes, God is arranging things so perfectly that you won't recognize his hand until you look back and realize there was no other way this could have worked. Lesson 2. Preparation happens long before purpose is revealed. Esther didn't wake up one day and suddenly become courageous. Before the crown, there was obscurity. Before influence, there was obedience. Before boldness, there was patience. She spent years being prepared, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, without knowing why. And this is where many of us struggle. We ask, why am I here? Why does this season feel slow? Why does my life seem hidden? Esther teaches us that preparation often feels invisible, but it is never wasted. If your life feels quiet right now, don't despise it. You may be learning endurance, humility, wisdom, or discernment, tools you'll desperately need later. Lesson 3. Fear is natural, but courage is a choice. When Esther learns that her people are facing destruction, she doesn't respond like a superhero. She's afraid, and that matters. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Esther knew the law. Approaching the king uninvited could cost her life. Yet she made a choice that changed history. If I perish, I perish. This was not recklessness. This was surrender. There comes a moment in life when staying silent becomes more dangerous than speaking up. Esther teaches us that true courage is born when responsibility outweighs self-preservation. Lesson 4. Your position is not an accident. One of the most famous lines in Esther comes from Mordecai. And who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? This question echoes through generations. You are where you are for a reason. Your influence, no matter how small it feels, matters. You don't need a crown to make an impact. You don't need permission to do what is right. Your workplace, your family, your struggles, your voice, they may be the exact tools God intends to use. Lesson 5. Timing is as important as truth. Esther didn't rush. She didn't expose Haman at the first opportunity. She waited. She observed. She prepared. And when the time was right, she spoke. Wisdom knows what to say, but maturity knows when to say it. Esther teaches us that patience is not weakness. Sometimes the most powerful action is restraint. Lesson 6. Pride always destroys itself. Haman believed power belonged to him. He built gallows for others, only to face them himself. Esther reminds us that arrogance blinds judgment, and pride eventually collapses under its own weight. Justice may seem delayed, but it is never forgotten. Lesson 7. Deliverance brings responsibility. The story doesn't end with survival. It ends with remembrance. The celebration of Purim was established, so future generations would never forget what God had done. When you overcome hardship, it's not just for you. Your story becomes someone else's hope. Your healing becomes a testimony. Your courage becomes a reminder that darkness doesn't win. Final reflection. The Book of Esther whispers a powerful truth. Even when God seems silent, He is still sovereign. Even when you feel small, your choices can shape destiny. You were not placed here by chance. You are not walking through this season alone. And maybe, just maybe, this moment you're living in right now is your such a time as this. If this message spoke to your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps spread wisdom, courage, and hope to others who may need it today. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what fear do you need courage to face right now? Thank you for being here. Walk boldly. Your story is still unfolding.